Hola bandidos, ¿cómo estamos? Welcome to Mel's Magic Official. I'm Magic Mel, and this is Charles, my guardian angel. Welcome to us spiritual warriors here. We are warriors of light and dark, and I mean that in a sense of wholeness, because we operate in this realm of duality where we need the contrast, the light and the dark. As spiritual warriors, we are cultivating our awareness and our connection to our higher self. We seek to reconnect with our divinity and thus reconnect with our humanity. And we've been discussing what it means to be a spiritual warrior, and today I want to branch off a little bit into the fundamental theme of embodying the paradigm of being and having enough. Why is this so important? It's important because it is rather revolutionary to the old matrix we are evolving out of. What does that mean? You, most likely, have been programmed just like me when growing up that you're not enough. And that probably happened at a subconscious level. We're fed with this programming through our upbringing, through society, by what the media feeds us, and through an experience of separation that occurred maybe through a traumatic experience in your childhood. And as children, we tend to blame ourselves if we do not receive the nurturing or the love that we needed. It is too life-threatening to blame our parents, so we put it on us and we start telling ourselves, oh, if I'm not receiving love in the way that I need, maybe there's something wrong with me. So it starts there, and the old matrix feeds on that and continues that narrative as we grow older. What does this entail? Well, feeling that you're not enough creates a void in you, no? That you then try and fill. And we develop certain coping mechanisms to alleviate this gnawing sense of emptiness inside us, no? So coping mechanisms can manifest in a constant striving. In my case, it was a striving to be excellent at everything that I did. School, academia. There was this relentless drive to excel, to shine. I noticed later on that it was a way for me to get attention from my parents and to not burden them more, but to say that, hey, at least I'm good, at least I'm achieving good grades. But it was coming from a sense of lack within me, because beneath that was this haunting sensation that I wasn't enough, that I was only good if I was proving myself to the outside world. So you might have gone through a similar process, and it can drive us towards perfection, but in a self-destructive way almost, because we lose ourselves in that striving. And the irony is also that nothing can actually really fill that void. So whatever accomplishment you achieved, whatever accolades you collected along the way, they stand there for their own right, but ask yourself, did they really fill that void? Or did they only feed this imposter syndrome that it's all just a facade. Or you're trying to cover up, you're trying to cover up something, this feeling that you're flawed. As spiritual warriors, we connect with that remembrance that we are divine sparks, that we are God eternal incarnate. It sounds like a huge, heavy thing to say, but really, this human life is an opportunity to express this unique divine spark within you, to make space for Mahadev, the universe, spirit, to move through you. But it can only move through you if you are aware of your inner wholeness. What keeps us in constant striving and what feeds essentially the capitalist machine also is our bottomless pit of emptiness, the void inside. As long as we are feeling that and we are disconnected from our wholeness, from our divinity, we overconsume. We use substances. We use entertainment. We use whatever we're being offered to fill that void and to try and escape the painful reality of feeling that void. So embodying the paradigm of you being enough as you are and having enough turns everything upside down. Because all of a sudden there's a stillness. You come from constantly reaching out and seeking outside of yourself to the present moment where you realize, wait a minute, isn't it crazy that I'm in this constant hamster wheel? What if I stop and reconnect and look around and say, hey, I've been chasing my own tail here. I've been running after the carrot that keeps on escaping me in circles, and I'm exhausted. When you come back to your centeredness, to your center, the dust settles, you see clearly, you realize who you are, and you stop striving. The old matrix doesn't want us to reconnect with this inner knowing, with our wholeness, because then we stop consuming. Then we stop being manipulated by temptations saying that you must have this, or you must do that, or you must be this in order to be enough, in order to be worthy. Underneath the constant striving is shame. And shame is such a painful experience that we try everything to cover that up. I say we're not warriors of light because every emotion has its place. If ever the light is the light of awareness, having enough capacity to sit with the wholeness of you. So not escaping dense feelings or pain or grief or sadness or shame or anger, but sitting with it and integrating it, incorporating it. But once you realize that nothing is actually broken with you, that you are just reconnecting with who you really are, it's like an exhale. And if you ask, well, how do we do this reconnection? Yeah, we got to practice certain modalities. Breathing. What can we do to come out of this survival state? When we feel that we don't have or that we are not enough, we're constantly scrambling. We constantly feel in danger. And I'm not saying that there aren't real life situations out there where we are threatened. No. You and I know that the world is exploding in a way all over the place. And that it's a privilege to be speaking like this. But a lot of our unsafety in other parts of the world is an internal state. The survival state, the anxiety that we carry within. So practicing breathing, calming our nervous system, working with the parasympathetic nervous system, calming that down through our breath, through meditation, through walking, through healing connections, allows us to come into stillness. And we need stillness and space to realize that we are and that we have enough. Haven't you noticed that when you slow down, you're able to perceive things clearer? You're able to be more present. And when you become more present, you realize, hey, you question yourself, do I really need what I'm running after in order to feel what I'm already feeling? Isn't it exactly that feeling of safety that you're after? Because think about it. We do a lot of things to feel a certain feeling at the end of it, no? Whether that's security, happiness, safety, connection. Those are basic human needs. So if we can access the feeling within ourselves, then we can cut out a lot of the scrambling, because you realize you're shortcutting towards that state. No? And the big shortcut is literally creating space to become still. That's when the dust settles. That's when clarity arises. That's when peace can wash over you. That's when you can reconnect with inner joy. That's when you can look within and ask yourself the big questions. When we bypass the questioning, we never stop. We just keep on going, like the hamster on the wheel. But when you slow down, when you breathe, when you create spaciousness in your life to feel, underneath, you can peel off these layers of your being, no? You can allow emotions to arise and to wash over you and to leave and transmute. And underneath is a stillness. And that stillness is experiential and it's so filling. The stillness is not emptiness in the sense of there's nothing there, but it's a wholesome stillness. A little bit challenging to explain. You have to experience it for yourself, but I encourage you to try it out. But these deeper realizations happen when we create spaciousness. When we create also the space to reconnect with feelings that we didn't want to feel, that felt unsafe to feel. When we feel them, anger, grief, yeah, it might be discomforting, but no emotion, unless we feed it with further thoughts, lasts longer than 90 seconds. So having the capacity to let energy move through you in the container of your stillness leaves space and gives you the clarity to sense that you're enough as you are, without necessarily having to fix yourself. You know, this paradigm of scarcity can sneak up in many ways, no? We think we don't have enough resources, but how about considering that you are resourceful? The peace that washes over you is also linked with trust. Underneath the striving is a fear, no? Like, I will feel safe when I have that. But underneath is fear of there not being enough. But when you just accept, okay, how about I surrender to this peace and to this wholeness, solutions come to you. It's as if the universe senses, oh, he, she, they stopped scrambling. Now I can finally move in and bring whatever answer, whatever resource is needed in the moment. But if we don't connect with the moment in the first place by constantly projecting into the future and running ahead of ourselves, then the universe can't really deliver the goodies, deliver what you need, the support you need in the present moment. So it's the irony of when you let go, things come in. But it has to do with energetics, no? Because energetically also, if you run after something, it tends to escape you. But when you stop running, then you attract. But the irony is also when you stop running away from yourself and reconnect with your innate wholeness, often you realize you don't even need what you were running after. Because the peace that comes from the inner connection is worth more than any striving or scrambling for fleeting things that are maybe in your mind necessary to fill that void, the urgency of filling that, no? So when we know that we are enough and we have enough with what we have in the moment, then we can get to work. And we become resourceful and we respect the resources that we have. And constraints can be useful. Option paralysis happens when we like flooded with options. Doesn't make it more difficult. But if you just have a pencil, okay, let's make the artist example. If you just have a pencil and a piece of paper, it makes life easier in terms of decisions because you're just working with that. If in my case I have everything at my availability, it becomes difficult because first I need to decide, well, what colors, what medium, what format. It gets more complex. And simplicity is something to strive for too. Cutting out unnecessary things is an art. At the end of it, we want to come back to the essential. So the essential you, what you really need. And we overcomplicate things so much. When we get lost in complexity, we lose touch with the essence. And perhaps we've reached a point of so much complexity that literally we forgot, well, what is really important? And we're going back to that. You see that, no? With a lot of people moving away from cities back to rural areas to reconnect with nature, the slow food movement, the striving or the traction towards healing practices to slow down, to reconnect. It's all there because we've gone too far off into complexity. When you know that you have enough, you also give off another energy because people, we're so sensitive, even on a subconscious level. Now we intuit when somebody comes because they need something from you. You can sense that. But if you come from simply wanting to share, without being attached to an outcome, that's freedom. If we attach to an outcome, we are more likely to set ourselves up for failure, no? Because attachment to an outcome means high likelihood of feeling disappointed. But if you just do things for the sake of the sheer expression of your joy, your wholeness, your passion, then that stands on its own, whether it's an art piece or whatever you're doing. Art is not constrained to fine arts. You are a creative being, so whatever you express is a manifestation of your art, your creativity. So it shifts the energy. And think about it. Would all that money or all that fill in the blank make you happier than what you're capable of in the moment once you've reconnected with yourself? I ask myself that question. Would be nice, but things are fleeting, no? We want to cultivate a strong connection with the root, with your center, without getting lost in Maya, without getting lost in experience. And that doesn't mean not appreciating and valuing happiness, joy, or whatever experience comes your way. Absolutely. Relish it. But know that the happiness and the joy is within you. You carry that within you wherever you go. You are the happiness that you're projecting outwards. Then with friends, say you're meeting a friend, you're happy. When they leave, you're happy because you embody that already. But if we're not connected to that sense of deeper belonging to ourselves, then we're always trying to run after things and situations and feelings and states. Knowing that we are and have enough also affects the environment because we are extracting from Mother Earth, no? This constant, I need more. And the shift can be incremental if you create more pockets of peace, of more joy, of more presence. Incrementally, it will affect the way you operate. I notice it because I, believe it or not, I'm quite an intense person, but and it would make me act rashly because I'm, in a rush to get things done, to make things happen. And now that I'm more chill, opportunities just arise. There's still action, but it doesn't come from a space of desperation or haste. When we're hasty, you know that now we're more likely to make mistakes and to overspend or waste energy. So coming from a paradigm of having and being enough makes us more resourceful and makes us more responsible in the way we use our resources, our own energy and the energy that's available outside of us. It makes us also more creative because then we use whatever we have right now to get going and to build on it, not to refine. So try it out in your life. Where do you feel? Ask yourself, what is the end purpose of whatever you're doing? Is it to feel a certain feeling? I'm not saying that money is not a resource to create stability, but it's a means to an end. It's not the end itself. So what is the end of the means? And what means do we use to get to that end? If safety is the goal, one of the goals, can we cultivate the safety within us first in our nervous system? And then allow, the resources, the abundance to show up when we need them in the moment without putting our sense of safety into that external thing, because then we're a slave to it, no? Then we're not in our power. How can we cultivate that safety inside? What does it mean to feel safe? How would you breathe if you feel safe? How would you feel when you feel safe? To me, it's more like an exhale, like relaxed. So in your daily life, how can you relax more to feel safe? And then act from that state of safety. Bring that energy into your job, your responsibilities, your responses. See how that affects the dynamics. Or if you want to feel happy, joyful, how can you nourish your joy and express that and bring that to the table in your interactions? Or looking at your life and taking stock and ask yourself, okay, with what I have, what could I create now, not in the future, now? Or how could I help somebody? Small thing, smile. Send somebody a nice message and see how that makes you feel. Because as we send out that energy, we get nourished by that energy too, no? That's a beautiful thing. The luxury of knowing that you are and that you have enough. Isn't that a luxury? And what are the true luxuries anyway? I feel it's good to have a memento mori. My memento mori is my gray hair that's sprouting up there. Memento mori means basically it's a reminder, no, that we are mortal in the sense of being in this vessel. Kind of lose track of that, no? It's good to know because it makes us more aware, okay, all of this around me, I have to let go of, and within me. I mean, no, not within you, but, you know, our attachments to our identity, our vessel, the relationships, we eventually have to let go of everything. So what are we leaving behind? Perhaps it's the energy that we give out that will continue, whether it's through other people, your children, your artworks. Try it out for yourself. Let me know how you catch yourself being in lack, your experience of it, but then also when you shift, because it's a consciousness shift, no? We can do that pretty instantly. You're in lack, you come back into gratitude, write a few things down you're grateful for, and you come back into centeredness, wholeness, and the knowing that you don't lack anything in the bigger sense, no? Because you are everything actually. And constantly not shaming ourselves when we do come from lack, because it happens, but coming back now, shifting, self-love, forgiving, and recalibrating. Let me know how that process is for you, or when you catch yourself being in a paradigm of abundance, of having and of being enough, or in a paradigm of lack, how that feels in your body, both states. As spiritual warriors, warriors of light and dark, we're learning that balance, no? Of energies, of nuances, and of recalibration with our Satnam, our truth, your true identity, which is one of wholeness and connection to infinite abundance. You are infinite abundance. So let's cultivate that. I'm going to talk to you in my next episode about my Beehive project collaboration. And for me personally, an example of coming from lack and operating from a space of abundance is I don't want more followers. I don't want any followers. I want to build a community with you. Because communities are the building blocks of this new earth, coming back to that sense of community, however small. No person is not important. It's the quality of our connection. So me knowing that I know enough people, you're here, if this resonates with you, and to build these connections, that is of essence of what is important to me. And to make you feel included if any of this resonates with you. So stay tuned for my next episode for this beautiful project of awareness and connection. And it will be an example of how I personally want to bring what I'm talking about here into the 3D. And I want you to feel involved and or perhaps be inspired to do something similar with your community, because all you need to do is stick your head out, open the door, and those people living around you, they are your community. I'll leave you with that. 30 minutes now. Satnam, Charles and I are right there with you. Your comments, your expressions are welcome here, and subscribe to my channel for more. Ciao, bandidos.